Hey, everybody, this is your revered mojihost Nandi bringing you a new episode of Messy Ministries. Today, I got to do something a little bit different, and I sure hope this video turns out right because I am using my iPad. My iPhone is acting a straight ass with me today. I don't know if it's on its period or what, but every time I try to save the video that I did earlier, it want to do what the hell it want to do. See, that's the shit I be talking about around here. So let's get straight to this one. This one is titled, well, I titled it. I like saying that. Can you tell? Anyway, I titled it, He Poo-Poo'd On My Pottery. And she writes, my husband's the sole provider for our family. We have 4 children, and outside a fast food job before we met, I've never had another job. A new neighbor is heavily into making beautiful pottery that she sells. It's her sole income and she does well. She's been showing me how to do it, and I've fallen in love with the feel of clay between my fingers. I asked my husband about purchasing my own supplies and wheel, and he told me no because it will take away from my time with our family. However, he had no issue with me going next door to use our neighbors as long as the children were at school. Now that they're home for the summer, he says my hobby needs to end until school starts again because the children need their mother's full attention. This doesn't seem fair, especially since he gets to spend the weekends going to games and get-togethers with his boys. He says that he works hard and deserves to play. I don't understand why he's so against me having an outlet. Now that I think back, he was the same way when I wanted to buy art supplies and go back to painting like I did in high school. I was really good, but he always told me I wasn't good enough and needed to focus on our family. I'm feeling some way about this. Please help me figure out a better way to get him to see that I have needs too. You know, you may not be able to see this, and I find myself doing this more and more, that when I read some of these submissions, I have to take a long pause because I don't want to say the wrong thing, and I do want to think about what I say before I say it because I don't want people to think that I'm just here to, I don't know, help you break up and move away or whatever it takes. But I just want to say this. So many of the women and men that I talk to that share their stories with me, I just got to say this to y'all. Y'all are choosing people who you're highly incompatible with, and then you're trying to jump through hoops to try to make it work. And it's usually not both of you who are doing it. It's usually one person who's doing all the jumping and the other person just throwing the hoops out there for you to come on through. And that's what I see again in this situation. And before I really delve into it, I got to tell this to you, especially a lot of you younger women out here. I'm going to tell you like the old folks used to tell us, the older women that is, always have your stash. Always have a little money in your pockets. But at the same time, not just have money in your pockets, have a skill set in your purse that you can pull out and use when it comes to making money. You should never be with somebody who is the sole provider and you don't have any useful skill set in the event that something happens, including them deciding that they just don't want to be with you anymore. And when I hear this, when I read stuff like this, it hits me in the core because it's just like so many of y'all don't know this. You know, you think that you have these prized romantic marriages, and sometimes you do. I mean, it could happen. But when you're in a good marriage, your partner is open to you doing things that fulfill you, that bring you happiness too. They don't want your whole world to revolve around just them and the children. I mean, because in this instance, his world doesn't revolve around just y'all. You said yourself that on the weekends, he goes to games and get-togethers with his boys. Then he also seems to have an issue with marginalizing what it is you love to do. Your art, for instance, you sound really artistic to me. First of all, you like to paint. You said you used to paint. He shut that down, told you weren't good enough. Who is he to tell you you're not good enough? So what? Is he an art connoisseur or something? Then when you start doing the pottery thing, he calls it a hobby, even though your next door neighbor has obviously made it a lot more than a hobby, since that is her sole source of income. Now, I don't know if she's married too, but obviously she's doing really well if it can serve as a source of income, because there's income and then there's just some spending cash. You say income, so I'm going to take it as she's making really good money doing it. I know somebody who does pottery, and she makes beautiful pottery. Matter of fact, I still have a mug that I got from her years ago when she was just starting out. And her stuff from then to now, boy, I'm telling you, she has beautiful pottery. So it's not like this is not something that could turn into, say, an income source for you. And obviously your neighbor is open to helping you do that because she allows you to come over. Now, him wanting you to stop because the children are home, has he stopped going out on the weekends and to get-togethers since the children are home on vacation, home for the summer? So what we ask of one of our partners, we should also be willing to sacrifice. And it sounds like he's really selfish. It also sounds really immature on his part, because that's not adult-like to try to treat another adult like a child. Matter of fact, that's pretty abusive. To isolate you, because I don't hear you talking about having a mom or somebody that you could leave the children with. You didn't make mention of that. I mean, maybe you're just so focused on what's happening, you didn't think about that. But usually when people have somebody who can step in, they usually kind of mention that. So I don't know if he's managed to isolate you from your family, or maybe you self-isolated, or whatever it is. But I know that there's more to this whole conversation than meets the eye. When somebody starts dictating to you what you can and cannot do, and then they throw that whole thing around. I mean, because the first thing you said, pretty much, your first statement was that he's the sole provider. So that says that plays a large role in y'all relationship. The fact that he is. You have 4 children. I mean, I can see you needing a break. And for him to say that he needs time to play, he works hard, so he deserves to play. Does he realize how hard you work being home with the children? That is hard work. I would actually rather go out and work 40 hours a week. There were some periods in my life where I prefer to go out and work 40 hours a week than to go home and parent. That is a hard job, and it sounds like you're doing it by yourself. He might be the father, but it sounds like you kind of like single parenting, because all the responsibility is being placed on you. And again, that is a hard damn job for anybody to have to do. And especially if you're doing it with no reprieve, no breaks, because it don't sound like he giving you none. He wants your whole world to revolve around that, so you don't have time for much else. And that's where we at. This man has found a way to keep you from fulfillment. People who love you and value who you are want to see you happy and fulfilled. And if these hobbies, as he calls it, threatens him in that way, then you might want to really think about it, because baby, you really, really have more of a problem than just finding a way to get him to see that you need fulfillment too. It just seemed like he don't really care whether you need it or not. So I'm going to go ahead and open the floor up for anybody who's listening. What do y'all think? Let's continue the conversation in the comments. Tell me what y'all think. Tell me if you think I'm on the wrong track. Because like I said, I'm not here to try to break up marriages. Because y'all already, the ones y'all coming, this stuff y'all bringing to me, y'all already there. Unless that person do a complete shift, you already there. So it's not about me. It's just about the incompatibility that was already there. And here I am pointing it out. For shame. So what do y'all got? And if you want me to tackle your mess, just head on over to messyministries.com. Go to our submission page. Hey, I could be discussing your issue the next time you watch an episode of Messy Ministries. This is your revered host. I'm out.